When people hear the word lawsuit, it often creates immediate stress, uncertainty, or even fear. Much of that reaction comes from not knowing what is actually happening or what to expect. In reality, most legal situations are structured processes governed by clear rules, timelines, and documentation. They are not sudden disasters, but step-by-step procedures that unfold in predictable ways. The first and most important thing to remember is that emotional reactions can distort perception. What feels overwhelming in the moment is often manageable when broken into smaller, practical actions. Staying grounded does not mean ignoring a problem. It means approaching it with clarity instead of panic. Whether someone is dealing with a legal notice, a dispute, or simply preparing for the possibility of one, the ability to remain calm directly improves decision-making. This mindset allows individuals to respond strategically rather than emotionally, which is crucial when dealing with any formal process. A lawsuit is essentially a formal legal disagreement brought before a court or legal authority for resolution. It is not an instant punishment or a sudden event, but a structured process where both sides present their claims and evidence. Many people misunderstand lawsuits as dramatic or chaotic situations, but in practice, they are highly procedural. There are filings, responses, hearings, and opportunities for clarification on both sides. The system is designed to evaluate facts, not emotions. Understanding this helps reduce unnecessary fear. A lawsuit does not automatically mean guilt or loss. It simply means that a disagreement has reached a formal stage of resolution. In many cases, matters are resolved before they even reach a courtroom through negotiation or settlement. Knowing this helps shift the perspective from fear to awareness, allowing individuals to see the situation as something manageable rather than catastrophic. Legal notices and disputes arise in many everyday situations, and most of them are not extraordinary. They can involve business disagreements, contract misunderstandings, property issues, financial obligations, employment matters, or service-related conflicts. In some cases, they result from miscommunication or differing interpretations of agreements. It is important to recognize that legal systems exist to resolve such disagreements fairly, not to punish individuals arbitrarily. Many people assume that receiving any legal communication automatically implies wrongdoing, but that is not the case. Often, it is simply a formal way of requesting clarification or resolution. Understanding the wide range of reasons behind legal notices helps reduce stigma and fear. It also encourages people to look at the specific facts of their situation rather than assuming the worst. Each case is unique, and context matters more than assumption. One of the most effective approaches in any legal situation is early preparation. Panic often leads to confusion, delayed responses, or incomplete actions, all of which can complicate matters further. Preparation, on the other hand, creates clarity and control. When individuals take time to understand the situation, gather relevant documents, and seek professional guidance early, they significantly improve their ability to respond effectively. Legal processes are time-sensitive, which means that timely action is often more important than emotional reaction. Preparation also helps reduce uncertainty, as it replaces speculation with facts. Even before speaking to a professional, organizing information such as contracts, messages, receipts, or correspondence can provide a clearer picture of the situation. This proactive approach ensures that decisions are based on evidence and structure rather than anxiety. Selecting the right legal professional is one of the most important steps in navigating any legal matter. A good lawyer is not just someone with credentials, but someone who understands the specific area of concern and communicates clearly. When choosing legal support, it is important to look for experience in the relevant field, whether it is civil, criminal, corporate, or contractual law. Initial consultations can help determine whether the lawyer is suitable for the case. Clarity in communication is essential. A reliable lawyer will explain options, risks, and processes in understandable terms, rather than overwhelming legal jargon. Accessibility and responsiveness also matter, especially in time-sensitive situations. It is often helpful to consult more than one professional before making a decision, as this provides perspective on different approaches. The goal is to find someone who aligns with both the legal need and the individual's comfort level. When facing any potential legal matter, organization becomes a powerful tool. Gathering relevant information early can significantly strengthen one's position and understanding. This includes contracts, written agreements, emails, messages, financial records, receipts, and any other documentation related to the issue. Even informal communication can sometimes be important in understanding context. The goal is not to interpret or judge the information immediately, but simply to collect it in one place. Creating a clear timeline of events can also be extremely helpful, as it allows both the individual and their legal advisor to understand how the situation developed over time. Accuracy is more important than speed, so it is better to compile complete and correct information rather than rushed summaries. This structured approach helps ensure that no important detail is overlooked during legal discussions. Legal processes generally follow a structured sequence that includes filing, notification, response, review, and resolution. After an initial complaint or claim is filed, the other party is formally informed and given time to respond. This response stage is critical, as it allows both sides to present their position. Depending on the complexity of the matter, there may be multiple rounds of communication, document exchange, or hearings. In many cases, disputes are resolved before reaching a final trial stage through negotiation or settlement discussions. Courts or legal bodies aim to resolve matters based on facts and applicable laws rather than assumptions. Understanding this step-by-step progression helps reduce fear of the unknown. It also highlights that legal systems are structured to provide fairness and due process, rather than immediate judgments. Legal situations can create emotional strain, especially when outcomes feel uncertain. Managing this stress is just as important as managing the legal process itself. One effective approach is focusing on controllable actions, such as organizing documents, seeking professional advice, and maintaining communication. Avoiding speculation about outcomes can also reduce unnecessary anxiety. It is helpful to remember that legal matters often take time, and immediate conclusions are rarely accurate. Maintaining daily routines, sleep, and basic well-being can support mental clarity during this period. Talking to trusted individuals or professionals can also provide perspective and emotional balance. The key is to avoid isolation in thought, as that often amplifies stress. A structured approach to both action and mindset helps maintain stability throughout the process. Clear communication and proper documentation are essential in any legal matter. Every interaction, whether written or verbal, can become part of the broader context of a case. Keeping records of all communication ensures that there is no confusion later. It is also important to communicate carefully and factually, avoiding emotional or impulsive responses. Written communication should be clear, concise, and professional. Organization extends beyond documents. It also includes maintaining a timeline, tracking deadlines, and understanding obligations. Many legal complications arise not from the core issue itself, but from missed deadlines or incomplete responses. Staying organized helps prevent such issues and ensures that each step is handled properly. This level of structure provides confidence and reduces the likelihood of avoidable errors. Under pressure, people often make decisions that complicate legal situations. One common mistake is ignoring communication or delaying responses out of fear or uncertainty. Another is relying on unverified advice from informal sources rather than consulting qualified professionals. Some individuals also make the error of discussing sensitive details publicly, which can create unnecessary complications. Acting impulsively without understanding consequences can also be problematic. The best approach is to pause, verify information, and seek expert guidance before taking action. Legal matters require precision, and mistakes made early can have long-term effects. Avoiding unnecessary assumptions and focusing on verified facts is one of the most effective ways to maintain control over the situation. Creating a structured action plan helps transform uncertainty into manageable steps. This plan can include gathering documents, consulting a qualified legal professional, organizing communication records, and noting important deadlines. Breaking tasks into daily or short-term goals makes the process less overwhelming. It is also helpful to prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance. Regularly reviewing progress ensures that nothing is missed and adjustments can be made as needed. A well-defined plan provides direction and reduces confusion, especially in situations where information may still be developing. The goal is to maintain steady progress rather than rushing into decisions without clarity. With a clear plan, even complex situations become more manageable. Legal challenges, while often stressful, are structured processes designed to resolve disputes fairly and systematically. They are not sudden collapses of stability, but sequences of steps that can be understood and managed with the right approach. The most important elements in navigating such situations are clarity, preparation, and professional guidance. Emotional reactions are natural, but they should not dictate decisions. Instead, focusing on facts, organization, and informed action leads to better outcomes. Every situation has a path forward, and understanding that path reduces fear and increases confidence. With the right mindset and preparation, individuals can approach legal matters not as overwhelming crises, but as structured challenges that can be addressed thoughtfully and effectively. Top of form, bottom of form. They are not after your money, they are after your peace. They are not after your possessions, they are after the stability inside your soul. They are not after your reputation because they think you are guilty. They are after your reputation because they fear the weight of your influence. This is not punishment, this is intimidation. They want to corner you. They want to create pressure so you break from the inside before anything even reaches the judge. They believe that if they can make you feel overwhelmed, then maybe you will surrender before you even enter the courtroom. They want your mind to collapse. They want anxiety to weaken your steps. They want your clarity to become blurry. They want doubt to swallow your confidence. My child, they are not strategizing against your bank account. They are strategizing against your emotional strength. And this is why I speak in advance. I reveal what they think is hidden, and I do it gently. I do it softly. I do it in calm rhythm, because the enemy uses chaos as fuel, but I use stillness as defense. I do not fight panic with panic. I fight panic with clarity, and clarity does not shout. Clarity sits down inside you like a silent weight and gives you the ability to breathe steady while others expect you to collapse. That is why my voice is calm now, not because the situation is small, not because the lawsuit is fake, not because the threat is imaginary, but because calmness is spiritual authority. Calmness is strength that does not need noise. Calmness is protection that does not need panic. Calmness is the shield that makes the enemy powerless. My child, I will not raise my voice inside you. I will not shake you with fear. I will not rush your breath, because the moment you hear me in peace, the traps against you lose their effectiveness. You are not stepping into this weak blind. You are stepping into this week informed, and when the spirit is informed, anxiety cannot dominate it. When truth arrives, fear loses its oxygen. What they are building is not greater than what I am preparing. They believe they have the upper hand because they are already filling documents. They believe they have advantage because they are already speaking behind your back. They believe they are ahead because they started planning early. But they do not understand. Heaven does not measure power by who prepares first. Heaven measures power by who stands in truth. They think their preparation is a guarantee, but your connection to me is a greater guarantee. And while they write your name into files, I am writing strength into your spirit. While they type accusations, I am placing clarity into your awareness. While they gather their agreements, I am gathering your steps. They are organizing against you. I am organizing within you. And what forms inside a person is more powerful than what forms outside. Now understand gently, I did not tell you to find a lawyer because the system is stronger than me. I told you to find a lawyer because your participation is part of your testimony. Some victories require human hands. Some victories require earthly representation, not because heaven needs help, but because heaven sometimes chooses to work through people to shape destiny. There are lawyers who defend facts, and there are lawyers who defend souls. You need the one who carries both. You need someone whose mind does not panic when pressure arrives. You need someone whose wisdom does not collapse when the case becomes deeply layered. You need someone who does not see this as just another file, but sees the spiritual weight behind the strategy. You need someone who understands that this moment is not just legal, it is prophetic. You need someone who does not simply speak in court, but understands the timing of divine intervention. And I will lead you to this person, not by forcing you, not by rushing you, not by confusing you, but through a gentle indicator, a small sign, a small moment, a small name, a small suggestion, something subtle, something that will appear like coincidence to the normal eye, but to you, it will feel like recognition. It will feel like inner confirmation. It will feel like a quiet light turning on in your awareness. And you will know, not because the sign is loud, but because your spirit will feel peace when the name appears. Peace is the indicator of direction. Peace is how I guide you. This lawsuit is not the end. This lawsuit is not destruction. This lawsuit is not punishment. This lawsuit is a transition point, a portal moment, a shift in your timeline, a moment where hidden intentions of others are being exposed not by your investigation, but by their own decision to file what they think will hurt you. People reveal their hearts when they choose their methods. They believe they are exposing you, but in reality, they are exposing themselves. And my child, I need you to understand this with calm acceptance. There is no pain that is wasted when it reveals truth. There is no attack that is useless when it reveals the character of those who pretend to care. There is no betrayal that is meaningless when it shows you who never deserved access to you. This lawsuit is a mask removal. This lawsuit is a sudden clarity. This lawsuit is a spiritual spotlight shining directly onto those who smiled beside you but never wished you well within. And I know you may feel tired. I know you may feel heavy. I know you may ask, why do people do this? And I tell you, because your existence unsettles the insecurity inside them. You carry presence, you carry purpose, you carry identity, you carry elevation. And elevation provokes jealousy in those who refuse to grow. My child, understand this slowly. Some people do not hate you because of what you did. They hate you because of who you are. They hate you because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. They hate you because your courage exposes their fear. They hate you because your clarity shows how unclear they are within themselves. They hate you because your peace highlights their inner restlessness. They hate you because your rising threatens their illusion of superiority. The lawsuit they are forming is not a legal attack, it is an emotional reaction to your existence. They want to stop your movement because your movement reveals their lack of progression. They want to silence your steps because your footsteps echo louder than their achievements. This is not about justice, this is about insecurity being weaponized. And I am not telling you this to create bitterness in your heart. Bitterness is poison. I do not want it in your spirit. What I want is understanding, because understanding keeps the heart soft while the eyes stay open. When you understand what is happening, you do not take the attack personally. You do not collapse into confusion. You do not drown in questions. You simply realize this is not about you doing wrong. This is about others failing to grow. And so, my child, I need you to hold your inner calm as you walk these next days. I need you to take every step slow and conscious, because wisdom does not rush. Wisdom observes. Wisdom listens. Wisdom waits. Wisdom does not panic when the enemy moves, because wisdom knows that the enemy is predictable. Those who move in darkness always reveal themselves eventually, not because you discover them, but because their own jealousy forces them into the light. This lawsuit, this paper, this file, this legal move, it is not sudden to me. It is only sudden to you, and that is why I speak now, so you are aligned before the moment arrives physically. Your 7 days are not 7 days of fear. They are 7 days of preparation. They are 7 days of alignment. They are 7 days of inner centering. Warriors are not built in comfort. Warriors are built in clarity. And clarity is arriving now, word by word, breath by breath, quietly, steadily, until your spirit stands still and firm inside you. You are not alone in this week. Do not walk in the mindset of, everyone is against me. That is not truth. I am with you. And if I am with you, then even those who appear many are spiritually few, because the number of people against you does not determine the outcome. Your connection to divine alignment determines the outcome. One person guided by heaven can overpower 100 guided by jealousy. A single step taken in wisdom can destroy 10 steps taken through hatred. The strength of those trying to harm you is not measured by how many they are. Their strength is measured by how grounded you are, and you will be grounded. I will not allow fear to take root inside you. I will not allow panic to dictate your decisions. I will not allow anxiety to infiltrate your breathing. That is why I speak before their papers arrive. That is why I reveal the intention before you see the document. That is why I give you awareness before the week begins. Because awareness is protection. And protection is not always physical. Sometimes protection is insight. You have not lost control of your life. Things are not falling apart. This is not the end. This is a divine interruption to expose the energy around you that pretended to be peaceful. This is correction of environment. This is cleansing of hidden toxins. This is the universe removing wolves disguised as supporters. Sometimes justice begins by revealing who cannot walk with you into your next chapter. And my child, hear me gently. You are entering a new chapter. They think they are ending your path, but actually, they are signaling the beginning of a new path. Every legal moment carries weight, but it also carries transformation. This lawsuit is not the destruction point, it is the turning point. You are not being pushed down, you are being positioned. They think they are blocking your journey, but actually, they are confirming your elevation, because nobody fights what is not rising. Nobody plots against what is not powerful. Nobody attacks what is not becoming significant. People do not sue the ordinary. They sue what threatens their comfort. You have become a threat to the comfort of those who wanted you small. You have become unsettling to those who wanted you silent. You have become a reflection that reveals who they are not, and instead of growing, they are attacking. But they cannot stop what is already written. Their papers do not rewrite your destiny. They only reveal their fear of it. Breathe, my child. Let your heart rest. Let your mind settle. You are not stepping into this week alone. You are stepping into this week with divine supervision on every detail. And when you walk under supervision, you walk differently. You walk slowly. You walk consciously. You walk calmly, because calmness is not weakness. Calmness is spiritual maturity. Calmness is confidence rooted in the unseen. Calmness is proof that your strength does not depend on their peace. Your strength depends on my presence. The lawyer will come, the right one, not the popular one, not the noisy one. There comes a point in life where you begin to understand the difference between reaction and clarity, between fear-based decisions and grounded awareness, between emotional overwhelm and quiet inner strength. This is the space you are being invited into now, not one of urgency, but one of stability. You are learning to slow down before you respond to anything that feels intense or uncertain, not because you are afraid, but because you are beginning to value clarity more than speed. You are realizing that rushed decisions often come from pressure, not truth, and truth has a quieter voice. It does not force itself. It becomes visible when your mind is steady enough to notice it. This is why patience matters now. Not passive waiting, but active steadiness. The kind of steadiness where you allow situations to unfold before assigning meaning to them, where you observe before you conclude, where you listen before you decide. This is emotional maturity taking shape, not as a dramatic transformation, but as a gradual shift in how you relate to uncertainty. You are also beginning to understand something important about yourself. You don't need to abandon your intuition to stay grounded, and you don't need to abandon grounding to trust your intuition. Both can exist together when you are calm enough to hear yourself clearly. Intuition is not panic. It is not fear. It is not urgency. It is quiet recognition, and it becomes stronger when your mind is not overwhelmed. There may be moments ahead where external situations feel complicated or emotionally charged. That is part of life. But what changes now is how you meet those moments. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause. Instead of assuming worst-case meanings, you observe facts. Instead of letting emotion lead every interpretation, you give yourself time to understand what is actually happening. That shift alone changes everything. You begin to notice patterns more clearly. Who communicates consistently? Who shows up reliably? What situations feel stable versus what feels uncertain? You stop building decisions on potential alone and start including reality in your judgment. That is where emotional safety is built, not in certainty about outcomes, but in clarity about what is actually present. There is also something important to understand about fear. Fear often tries to speed you up. It makes everything feel urgent, like you need to decide immediately, act immediately, resolve everything immediately. But urgency is not always wisdom. Often, wisdom is the ability to wait long enough for clarity to form. When you slow down, you regain access to perspective. You see more than just the emotional surface of a situation. You see context. You see consistency. You see what is real versus what is being imagined under stress. That is where strong decisions come from, not from pressure, but from awareness. You are also learning that your life does not need to be interpreted as a series of hidden meanings or unseen battles. Most situations become clearer when they are seen for what they are, not what fear suggests they might be. Not everything carries a deeper hidden narrative. Sometimes things are simply practical, human, and explainable, and recognizing that is freeing. At the same time, you are strengthening something very valuable, your ability to trust yourself, not blindly, not emotionally, but steadily. You are beginning to notice that when you are calm, your judgment improves. When you are grounded, your perception becomes clearer. When you are not overwhelmed, you choose better. That is real growth, not dramatic, but consistent. You are also learning to protect your emotional energy more wisely. Not by shutting down, not by isolating, but by being selective. You are no longer required to engage deeply with everything or everyone that creates confusion or pressure. You are allowed to step back, observe, and decide what deserves your attention. That kind of discernment is not coldness, it is self-respect. And over time, something shifts internally. Situations that once felt overwhelming begin to feel more manageable. Thoughts that once spiraled begin to settle faster. Emotional intensity no longer controls your entire perspective. Instead, it becomes something you can observe without being consumed by it. That is what emotional stability feels like. Not the absence of challenges, but the presence of inner space while facing them. You begin to realize that strength is not loud. It does not need to declare itself or prove itself constantly. It shows up in how you respond under pressure, in how you pause before reacting, in how you choose clarity over assumption, in how you return to yourself instead of losing yourself in external noise. And slowly, life begins to feel less like something happening to you, and more like something you are actively navigating. Not perfectly, not always easily, but consciously. You are not being asked to predict everything or control everything. You are being asked to stay aware, stay grounded, and stay honest with yourself about what feels stable and what does not. That is where your power actually is, not in certainty about outcomes, but in clarity about your choices, not in controlling what others do, but in understanding what you will and will not accept, not in rushing toward answers, but in allowing truth to reveal itself over time. And as you continue moving forward, you will notice something quietly important. You do not need intensity to feel meaning. You do not need urgency to feel purpose. You do not need fear to feel direction. You only need awareness, patience, and self-trust. From there, decisions become simpler, not always easy, but clearer. And clarity, even when it is slow, always leads to stronger outcomes than fear ever could. So you continue, not in panic, not in pressure, but in awareness, one step at a time, one clear choice at a time, returning again and again to what is real, what is steady, and what supports your long-term well-being. That is how stability is built, not all at once, but through repeated moments of choosing clarity over confusion.